Hello and welcome to Cloud Forest Vibes. My name's Bobby, and this is how I grow orchids and carnivorous plants. Hello and welcome to Cloud Forest Vibes. Today it's time for another Spiderfarmer SF-300 LED grow light update. I am just over 4 months in with this light, and we are going to go ahead and take a nice look at everything in the tank today and talk about the progress. Last update, we talked about some of the issues I was having with having too much light, and I don't believe I was accurate with all of that. We'll get into that when we get in the tank. But I did adjust it. I did, as you see, add that shade cloth up here, and everything has been growing fantastically. I've had zero issues light related since I added the shade cloth and made a few minor adjustments. So without further ado, let's get in here and take a look at the plants. The proof is in the plants, as I like to say. But my overall impressions of this light, it's still very high. I really do like this fixture a lot. It's really amplified the amount of light that I have in my grow situation here, and it has really opened up the door for me to be able to move my plants around and get a new type of plant that really does like high light that I don't think I would have been able to be as successful with before, I guess is the best way to say. It's really allowed me to fine-tune the placement and adjustment of my plants, the type of plants I grow, and it's just really opened up the door of possibilities for so many different things. So anyhow, let's get in here and take a look at everything, and we'll circle back and chat a little bit more about the light itself at the end. So here we are in the tank. I've got some new additions that you guys haven't seen yet because I don't think I've released the unboxing. So we're not going to talk too much about those, but we will do a quick scan, and then we're going to work our way back up from the bottom and talk about some of these plants, because there's a whole lot of good stuff going on in here, and it's all worth talking about for sure. So starting down here at the very bottom, we've got our Masdevallia Exquisita and our Bulbophyllum speciosum here, two of my prime examples of plants that are just doing amazing. I recently actually took a division off of this plant and sent it out to a friend of mine, and I'm hoping it's growing well for them. But since I've done that, I've got some bulbs shooting out from the back. The new growths are carrying on nice and strong and progressing as well. And as you see, even though it's down here in the depths and I do have shade cloth added, that's a bright, healthy color of green the plant is growing in all directions. The light distribution is fantastic, and we're not getting a single growth point from having one direction of light anymore. The Masdevallia Exquisita, same story, really. This thing is just taking off like a rocket. All of these are new growths, and I've had one little bloom here, but I've got spikes starting, and I am really hopeful that this thing is going to continue on and do really well. It's producing roots and doing nicely again. If you look over top of it, you see the growths are spread. They're growing in all sorts of different directions. And before, one of the big things I had an issue with in this tank was having one point of light, one big focal point of light. Now, the Spiderfarmer, being a big, wide bar, has really spread out the light. The light distribution is great. The light saturation is great now in my tank. And all the plants are reacting really well to it. Digging back here through the depths, you'll be able to see some of the Lepanthes. This is the Sherry Bridey Ham, and it is doing really well. All the newest growths coming out are a really healthy green color. I did move this thing down along with a bunch of other Lepanthes. I've got my Caladictyon over here, which I thought was light damaged, ended up being that it had lost all of its roots. So I've remounted this thing on a piece of tree fern. What happened was the zombie moss went off and it dumped its entire root system, so the leaves were not hydrating properly, and what appeared to be light damage ended up actually being a lack of hydration. So I'm taking that one off the list of plants that were affected negatively by the light. I still gave it some more shading. I've moved some of the Masdevallias and things up, but it is doing really well now. It's got a bunch of new growths coming back there, if you can see that. and I'm hoping this thing will make a full recovery. The Lepanthes Telepagano Flora, this did have a little bit of light damage, not damage, but it was starting to produce lots and lots of anthocyanin, so it got moved down just a shade as well, and now it is a very happy plant. It's producing lots of healthy new growths in here, and they are all a very healthy green color. So I've definitely sorted out the over brightness, but my old light was so weak, I guess, and such a central focal point that a lot of these shade lovers could actually exist higher up in the tank without any issues. Now that my light is distributed better and more powerful than ever, I do have to be a lot more careful of plant placement. Another really great example of a plant that is just doing phenomenally well. This is my Phallus rostratissima, or Cypridioides dark, and I had some big issues with this guy. It lost all of its roots because of my lack of updating its moss in a timely manner, and it started to produce cakeys and cakeys and cakeys. Now, if you look back in here, you'll see all those lovely, lovely roots, and if I give you a nice aerial view of this guy, you will be able to see that it is just flourishing under these lights. Nice healthy green color. The cakeys are just starting to take off and become little plants of their own, and I'm just going to let it do its thing. I'm just going to let this thing eat this mount, hopefully, and in the not too distant future, the next year hopefully, we'll be able to see this thing back in bloom, because I do miss the cascading little fuzzy purple clog-like blooms. Now, some other news I've got, big news, down here in the very depths, this is our Dracula Lotax. I love this little plant, and it has started to throw its first spike of the season. Down here in the depths, down here in the dark, and again, you will see it isn't really so dark after all. The new growths coming out are good size, they are a beautiful color, the moss, everything on the mount is living happily. And it's just another testament to the fact that this light is really, really doing the trick for all of my plants. So let's just do a general look over some things. This is Lepanthes Garcia. I got this pretty recently from Tarzane. The roots are going nuts. The growths, my new growths, are bigger and badder than anything on the plant so far. And it is just doing really, really well. I'm super excited to see this thing push on and grow. I hope the growths stay nice and big, and we can have a larger Lepanthes to look at in this tank. It's very floriferous, and I'm eager to let it grow on and do its thing. Two plants that are growing extremely well, but no signs of blooms yet. I got these Tristella. This is a Hoyari right here, and a Hoyari triglocken hybrid right here from Tarzane, and they are growing phenomenally well. You see those little bushes, guys? They are just doing great. No signs of blooms yet. I'm hoping the cooler weather will provoke them to do so. If not, I may have to move them up and give them just a little bit more light, but I wanted to go careful. On the moving up and giving more light front, I have moved up my Masdevallia Winlandiana here. And as you see, it is a bush. It is a huge little miniature Masdevallia at this point in time. It's really, really getting big. And no blooms. I don't know if maybe I didn't give it a proper temperature differential or enough heat this summertime or what, but I'm hoping that more light will encourage it to bloom this winter. I remember I had this plant once before. I believed mine bloomed in the wintertime. The one time I did bloom this thing before it died, and this is my replacement. So I'm very excited. I'm very eager to see if perhaps that will do the trick. I have another small division of this plant growing in my tent, believe it or not, mounted, and it's doing well now also, but I have started to give it some partial morning sun, so maybe that's the trick. And it definitely gets a lot warmer in my tent than it does here in the tank. This Masdevallia here, this is Masdevallia Garcia. I definitely botched the name of the Lepanthes. That's Lepanthes Ortegea, not Garcia. I was looking at the other plant when I was talking about this one. My apologies, guys. So that's Lepanthes Ortegea. This is my Masdevallia Garcia. And after it bloomed, it was kind of a sad sack. It really did not do much. It has sat dormant for a while. It finally put up a new growth last month. That's the bright guy that you see right there, and it's thrown some new roots out, so I am hoping, for whatever reason it was unhappy before, that it is happier now. Again, it is getting more light. I've moved it up here next to the Winlandiana, much higher in the tank, and I am hoping that perhaps that does the trick. Finally, we will take a look up, and these are probably some of the happiest plants in the entire tank right now. This, from here over and up, is my little Dendrobium Cuthbertsonii collection that I've started to amass. I've got my Dendrobium Gaetan Minette. I've got the Dendrobium Cuthbertsonii red version of the species here. I've got Dendrobium Mountain Magic White. This is the bicolor. I think it's the orange and the red. And this is a new acquisition that we haven't seen yet necessarily from my unboxing videos, but this is also another Cuthbertsonii species. I won't reveal it yet, but you guys will have to see that in one of my very soon to come unboxing videos. Anyhow, every one of these plants is doing phenomenal. This actually had 5 blooms on, but it's starting to fade this. It dropped the one back there. 3 strong. The Dendrobium Mountain Magic White dropped its first bloom, but it's got a bud coming. The new one's got a bud coming, and this little sad seedling thing here that I got from Bloomify that we all thought was going to die, believe it or not, is doing really well, all things considered. So I wanted to take a look at this one specifically because none of us thought that this plant was going to make it, definitely myself included, and so far it is. I think the light is a huge reason for that, as well as the conditions in this tank. I know the tank here is very much ideal for little flaskling guys like this, and the proof again is in the pudding. So believe it or not, yes, that plant is alive, barely, but it is pushing on, it is growing, and I am eager to see in the coming seasons if it will stick in with us. Very happy. I've got it a little bit more shaded than I grow the other ones. It's kind of in the shadow here of the Gaetan Minette, but again, it is doing very well. So that is everything right now in the tank, guys. We'll do one more little sweep of it, and you guys can see just how well everything does, and everything looks under this light. It really is nice, and the plants really do seem to appreciate it. Anyhow, that's my Spiderfarmer SF-300 LED grow light update for this month. Again, a little bit over 4 months in, and things are going strong as ever. If you guys want to check this light out, I highly recommend it. I'll be putting links to their sales sites in the description of this video, and that way you guys can shop it for yourselves. They're available in multiple countries, so doesn't matter where you are. If you do want to check this out, or the Spiderfarmer line in general, there will be links in the description of this video for you to do so. Anyways, guys, as always, thank you so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed. And until next time, please stay safe and happy growing.